Okay, here we go. Right, breathe. All right, we are here. We are ready. Tech packs are due. You won't get this, maybe not, but the only footwear design podcast ever. It's like our running joke right now. We're like, it's the only one. It's not, but it's our podcast for just like real shoe talk. For aspiring designers, people who just want to hear good shoe stories, all that stuff. Want to start off by saying thank you for joining us. We have 217 subscribers on YouTube, which to me feels like nothing to sniff at, seeing how it took a year to get to this point. Excited everyone's here. I'm excited because I've been waiting for this for a long time. I knew I wanted Jonny on from the moment I started the show. I knew I wanted Daniel Shirley and I wanted Jonny on the show. I've already got to take a drink. But it's awesome. So we always start with our little disclaimer thing that these views are our own. None of these views represent our employers, past, present, or future. Yada, yada.
Just having a conversation.
We are just, what did I say earlier? And I've been meaning to say it. When I do these episodes, I just like to call it like footwear designers at competitive brands breaking bread. Just talking, which is so cool. Like, that's another thing that this vision I had for this came because I started talking to other footwear designers outside of my sphere of like footwear designers. And I was like, man, they're having really cool experiences over there at New Balance, Under Armour, or whatever. Or some of them having nightmare experiences or whatever. I don't care what it is. I just wanted to talk to people, and I think these stories are amazing. Like, anyway, so that's another reason we're just coming together and talking. Jonny works over here. Oh, and by the way, we're in Boston.
We're in Boston. Yep.
Never been here before.
On a rainy, gloomy September day.
Yeah. Never been here. It is rainy. Which is funny. Portland's still sunny. And usually it gets rainy. But right about now, and then we won't see the sun until
it's brutal.
February.
We joke, don't make any serious decisions in Boston in the winter. You're not operating, optimally for sure.
You don't have enough vitamins. Not enough vitamins in the body. But yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know anything, so I hope some of this is like Bostonisms.
Well, I mean, happy to talk about anything, man. But welcome. Thanks for being interested in talking. So yeah,
Jonny and I go back slightly. Like, kind of go back.
Probably first cross paths in when was it? 2012?
It was before
2011?
Yeah, it was 13, 12, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I was trying to get into footwear. I did not know how to do that in
I don't know if anybody
Provo,
does.
Utah. Like, I didn't know. I thought it was impossible to kind of break in.
So you always knew from the beginning that you wanted to do footwear?
No.
Okay.
And I asked the questions.
Okay. No. If you're not careful, this could turn.
No, that's okay. No, actually, no one. I don't think anyone's asked me that yet. But no, for me, it was. I learned about all these furniture guys and thought, wow, furniture's cool, industrial design, furniture, all that stuff, and then realized I don't want to do furniture. So that's about how it went. It was like, and then I was like, well, what else? And then there was a visualization class, and like, oh, you can do in this assignment, you can test your AI rendering skills. You can do a past
AI meaning Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, Illustrator. Yeah, like
then.
And it was like put up on the board was like on the overhead was a video game controller, cell phone.
Something
like,
super inspiring, like a drill.
Yeah, and then the next
toothbrush.
The next slide was like a Quentin Williams, like shoe render, like a Nike shoe render, and I was like, wait, I can
That's a thing.
do that.
That's a thing.
I can do that with this. I always loved shoes, and I was always like, even in college, I was buying like, I had Jordan 1s before they were like a thing, and then I sold them before they became a thing, and I was like, well, that was bad timing. But then and so it was always like just in my, I like shoes.
You grew up playing sports as well, right?
Yeah, it's basketball.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah,
I think for a lot of people,
a
lot of us.
And I mean, part of the description for this page is I remember where I was sitting when Jordan hit his last shot, like against the Jazz in 96, 97. Like I remember where I was.
It's a brutal memory for those of us from the Wasatch Front.
Which that's a good point. My dad was from Chicago.
Okay.
And so it was a big deal in our home. And it is funny to go out to Utah for school, and people are just like, hey, we don't talk about that here very much. I'm like, okay. Like, whatever.
It's definitely one of those things to remember. The push off, man. That's all it was. That's all it was.
Push off. Okay. I don't know.
I'm surprised you're old enough to remember that, though. You would have been like, what, 10? I guess 10's plenty
10.
old to know what's going on.
I was old enough to try to get my dad to go to games and get him to sign, go to Michael Jordan,
right on,
sign stuff. Of course, that's not. You realize now what I was asking my dad to do, and I'm like, man, I hope my kids never ask me to try to show up in that kind of way. But yeah, well, here we are. I'm gonna take my time to introduce you. I feel like a lot of people, Jonny feels like no one knows him, but I'll tell you.
I mean,
I'll tell you, people know.
I guess I don't have an opinion on that, but it strikes me as surprising, I suppose.
Yeah. They know of you. I don't think people know who you are.
Right.
But they've seen your sketching. They've seen your style. People have followed you on Instagram and
I was hitting that pretty hard for a minute.
You were, and it was pretty awesome, pretty inspiring. I think that's where most people join your journey, is kind of in that, just there.
Yeah, if you choose to share it, that's a big part of it. Is everyone has a journey, everyone's up to something. At that moment in time, I guess I just had an itch.
Yeah,
it's I needed to reach beyond in some way. It's the new portfolio at the time as well.
Yep.
It had been for a long time, actually, but I just had never leveraged it in that way. And, some things came together. It was I gotta put feelers out, put work out there. And I kind of committed at that time that I was going to do a post a day. And I think, that was during COVID. I'm pretty sure. I think it was at the beginning of COVID, I think 2020,
sure,
maybe a little bit, because I started at New Balance it's the fall of 25 now.
Yeah.
So I guess the fall of 22. I think I hit it pretty hard for 2 years, and I don't think I've posted since.
Yeah, I was gonna say
since I started at New Balance.
Yeah, I was
it just kind of served its purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But at the same time, that sort of thing keeps you sharp. It's not just to put your work out there. It's kind of it's put your work out there, see how it lands, see how people respond, expose yourself to just feedback. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of sharpens you in a way. So I think that I do miss some of that. But yeah, certainly that's where, anybody who would know of my work, and it would likely come from there. And since then I've had, when I joined New Balance, people, oh, you're you're Jonny X Jonny or whatever, and that was it was funny that was a surprise to me, but also I guess it made some sense because it grew pretty quickly. And as I stayed with it, had pretty good reach. And, I don't know. I look back on that, and every designer looks back on their own work and is just like their worst critic.
Oh, sure.
So it's kind of funny sometimes to go back and scroll through that and be like, I posted that. It's like so bad, but that's what it is. I mean, that's the reason I guess I was doing it too. Cause I mean, it's not about being good or bad, or it's just about like the direction you're trying to head. So
yeah. I think largely I think that's why I still post, is because I feel like creating a portfolio hones skills, and forces you to take something that is incomplete. Like maybe I have a picture of a cool thing, but I'm not just gonna take that picture as is and just slap it on something and send it out into the world. I'm gonna kind of finesse it a little bit, add a description or add a text, whatever it is. I add something more to it and then put it out into the world. I'm not just raw image, throwing stuff out. I feel even with sketches, I'm not just I'm not putting.
It sharpens you a little bit. You said, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean, even in a project, in a briefed project, if you step back and sort of think about, is there a red thread of a story about why I'm doing this? Which is really, when you think about portfolios or storytelling, generally speaking, it needs to have that red thread. It needs to have a reason to be. And so sometimes you can get into a brief project and forget, kind of lose sight of stepping back and being how would I tell this story? Once it's all done, is there an actual story here? Or am I just chasing the feedback from the critique that we had, or chasing so-and-so's opinion? And then, it's just good to gut check, add a layer of why are you doing what you're doing? Helps tighten things up, give things a reason to be. But I mean, speaking of that, my Instagram posts, they never had a reason to be except this is what I'm feeling today. These are lines that I'm bringing to life. That was the scope of that. The scope was no broader than put a cool sketch out, quote unquote. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. You never knew. Sometimes I didn't really know. I mean, there was a time when I think because I posted, I said, this was when the NFT thing, when everyone was nuts and was doing NFTs, right? I think I said something in the description that was take any sketch of mine you want, turn it into a piece of art or a 3D or something like this, and sell the NFT, give me 5% or something like this. And I think that the algorithm picked up on that verbiage, because that post got thousands of more views and likes than anything. And that stayed that way for 2 or 3 weeks. It was quite interesting. I wasn't really thinking algorithm. I'm not that sophisticated to think along those lines, but it was just interesting to see that. The goal is just was to force me to sketch each day. Put it out there, and you just kind of observe just different things, different reactions, and learn little things about I guess the algorithm or whatnot. And it's kind of exhausting, quite honestly, to to sort of chase that.
Every day.
Chase it. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. You have to be a really mentally secure, stable person to not be affected by the public's response to your stuff. So yeah, ultimately did kind of become a little bit chasing, oh, well, we had 450 people like that sketch. If it doesn't do, if the next ones don't do that many, then they, it's not worthwhile, or it's not as good, or whatever it be. But, it kind of gets exhausting in that way. But, and that's in I was doing it in the smallest way humanly possible, right? I wasn't trying to monetize anything. I was just, but even still, you feel those things. And a certain amount of that's good. But a certain amount of that's good to shake free of that too.
Right.
And like you kind of age out of some of that a little bit.
Yeah.
At least that's how I kind of feel. But yeah, I don't know what took us down that rabbit hole, but that's certainly,
that is
a component of.
It is nice to hear the story, like, because I think a lot of people know those sketches in that style, and it's like.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that there's even a style there is surprising to me, and yet, because I was, I never thought of myself as being like an exceptional sketcher.
Right.
I was strong. I was okay. But I never I went to Spencer Nugent was a year ahead of me, a sketch a day. And he was so exceptional. We had Jason Raleigh, who was also extremely good. Jason's at Puma. Yep. Andres Parada. Like there was enough people who were excellent at sketching that for some of us, it was just kind of like, oh, those guys are the great sketchers. And,
right.
But, ultimately, like you practice enough each day for 3 to 6 months. And someone like me who didn't think of myself as having a particular style or having a particular like aesthetic for like something that people might pick up on. Yeah. It just like happened. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I could see clearly that I had a style. It wasn't curated to be that. Yeah. It was just, this is how I most naturally want to see my work. Yeah. Like in these shapes and these sorts of colorations and this sort of gesture. Yep. That's what's fun for me. Yeah. So, in time it gravitated to that place. And then I'd have like, I'd see people's work. Yep. And I was like, I don't think it was arrogant of me. That wasn't the intention, but like, it wasn't to like pat myself on the back, but I would see people's work or even in portfolios come through the offices and I'd be like, that looks a lot like my stuff. And I didn't know how to feel about it. Like part of me was like, check yourself. Like it's just ID sketching. Yeah. And another part of me was like, no, it probably did influence, some of these younger designers and there's nothing wrong with that.
I am myself a somewhat of a product of, I don't know if you know what kind of influence you had on me when I interned with you a long time ago. But
I hope I just made life really hard for you. Was hopefully a jerk every day. Yeah. Just a little bit.
No, maybe. I definitely felt like the intern for sure, but just those like.
Did we mention that? That's how we know each other.
Yeah. So, because it is good to mention that the camera that I will talk to, so I'm coming up through BYU. Johnny's already graduated. He's working at a consultancy called Modality. We're at the point in my schooling where no one believed in me that I could do this.
Dang.
I was like, cool. But then they were like, hey, there's an internship open and they kind of do footwear sometimes. And I was like, I'm going all in. And one of my other buddies went as well. Like we both came into Modality like the same day showing our portfolios. And
remind me?
This is my friend Mark Nader. He works at
Amazon. Okay. So you guys both applied.
So we both came in. You guys both wanted to review our stuff. And I guess because I had a couple shoes in, it was like, we want the shoe guy. And I was like, cool. And then I think that was like, for me, one of the, first time being like in the vicinity of people who I thought were like real designers. Yeah. Like, I mean, you and Tom, I don't know your titles. I don't know where you were career wise, but you felt like otherworldly senior level, like talent.
I mean, when you're a student, anybody who's doing it as their work feels, sort of like, whoa. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a function, not every student's going to feel that way. Yeah. But certainly there was an amount of that I would feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. Yeah. I don't know if we that was a term back then. But yeah, I can relate to those sorts of feelings. And I mean, Gary, I think Gary was running the studio at the time.
Yep.
Tom and I were working, under him and his direction and all that, and doing the best work that we could as a small little effort in Salt Lake. And yeah, we had a few interns come through, and we were all learning, quite honestly.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there's some good memories back in that time for sure.
I have the picture. I was going to show it to you before we started, but I have the picture of like the four of us in the studio, and I think you look the same.
That'd be nice.
I'm a little thinner in the face, that's for sure. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because then so just kind of introduce Jonny, and everyone kind of knows where I went, but Jonny went off. You came out here.
Yeah.
And you went to Reebok.
Yep.
And just kind of did your thing there.
Yeah.
And then in time worked your way to New Balance, which is where you are now. So that's kind of like my small introduction of Jonny Jensen and career path. But
that's, I had done a few internships during school. Those kind of showed me like world-class design, particularly Astro Studios in the Bay Area. At the time, consumer electronics weren't that interesting to me. I didn't have a ton of perspective on some of that, but like 2007, the iPhone came out. So I kind of used that as like a demarcation of like, that was sort of representative in my mind of momentum beginning to grow in terms of like sophisticated design, like treating product in that sort of way that like it merited like high design thinking and artistry, maybe even. So that was in 2007, and I was at Astro Studios in 2008, and I'd always wanted to do shoes, though I wasn't like a sneakerhead, and I didn't even like, I wasn't like buying a ton of shoes or like, but I grew up playing basketball, and I cared a lot about basketball, and I thought of footwear as equipment, and it was important to me as a basketball player. And so growing up, like, those memories of going to like Foot Locker and looking at the wall and like, how much is your dad going to let you spend? Like, those are great memories. And, so I had wanted to do it simply because I felt like I had a more personal connection to it, even though I was like exploring more like traditional industrial design, consumer electronics in my internships. And modality, as I was graduating, I'd been in California for three internships at that time, all in consumer electronics for the most part. Astro Studio does much more than consumer electronics, but for the most part, that's what they do. Right. So modality was going to do, I was going to be able to learn how to do footwear there. And they offer, I'd done an internship with them as well, like an in school, like sort of like a dozen hours a week or something like that. So I thought, sweet, I'll go back to Salt Lake. It'd gotten a little tiring being in California. I loved it, but like, I don't know, I was in the Bay Area, and then I was down in San Diego, and it was like having, trying to make new friends and being at these places a few months at a time. And it was like, Salt Lake's home. I can learn how to do footwear. Sweet. Yeah. And it's with, Gary and, Tom Daigle. So, Gary Moore and Tom Daigle were running it at the time, and they were cool to have me come join. So, learned a ton there, was there for 5+ years.
Wow.
I think about 5.5 years.
That's professionally, or was that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2009.
That's a hot start, I guess. Out of school.
So, yeah. And we didn't just do footwear. I mean, as you know, but we did enough that like you'd learn like the vocabulary, and you'd learn the process, and had a chance to travel. And so that was great. And ultimately just kind of felt like had different aspirations. And so that led to leaving modality and kind of hustling on my own with Tom Bender.
Right.
So, Tom Bender and we kind of hustled on our own, but we kind of, in the backs of our mind, I think both of us knew that this was sort of a bridge that was going to get us to the next thing.
Yeah.
Me and him, we kind of went and did a little bit of consulting, and I was teaching at the University of Utah in their newly created like product design program. And ultimately just like working the portfolio, working projects. Right. And I mean, that's one of the great things about being a designer is you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody's budget. Yep. You don't need anybody's facilities or equipment. You literally can dream whatever idea you want, whatever story you want to bring to life, whatever project you want to bring to life. Yeah. And you can do it all on your own. Just in your, wherever you want to be when you're sketching and creating your story and your pitch and all that stuff. Yeah. So I did that for about, I think, maybe like a year and a half. And actually, I think I got pretty lucky in getting into Reebok because a lot of my work was ID heavy.
Right.
And it wasn't honestly, it just wasn't that informed in terms of like the broader footwear conversation. Like I was creating decent work.
Yeah.
And I had like some strengths, but in footwear specifically, I was kind of not as educated about like the skills out there, the players in that space. Right. And I just lined up with the design director who had a more similar point of view as me than like the sneakerhead sort of, or like sneaker crazy sort of team or like director.
Right.
Where he could see through, like he could see like that thinking through an ID lens, problem solving lens, portfolio presentation, discussion of product and the way that you present and all that stuff.
Right. So
I kind of view that as like, dang, like in hindsight, because I think I joined Reebok, and I guess just in hindsight, I'm like, had it not been for that design director kind of resonating in that way, I think, I don't know where it would have led, You
said a lot of things. One thing I thought was interesting that you just said was that people, or like you thought that your work wasn't as informed.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean? Like informed footwear design.
I think I wasn't trying to track down and find all like everything that I could around what it meant to be a footwear designer.
Right.
The work that was being done out there. I mean, there was a few guys that I had followed, but I kind of had this weird perspective that like, I kind of had blinders on. I was just like, I'm focused on what I have in front of me. And I guess that was okay. I mean, I guess it kind of worked, I suppose, but like just in hindsight, like when I talk to other footwear designers and, the resources that people have now of like, even just like an Instagram,
right?
Like where I can start to follow designers and I can see their work and I can see their workflow and they're sharing their sketches and whatnot. I mean, this is kind of like before that was rolling.
Yep.
You had Coraflot.
Yep.
But it's like Coraflot, again, ID heavy.
Yep.
Inspiring, lots of cool stuff there. But yeah, from a footwear standpoint, I wasn't as aware. Yeah. And so like, I'll look back at my sketches. I mean, it's just crazy. Like you're just stunned by like how crap some of it is, or like how lame some of it is, or like you remember like that you thought that this thing was cool. And you're like, that's so not cool.
I do have like, I mean, I'm sitting here largely having like tried to follow your steps. Like, largely speaking, like not like lived in your shadow, because I did go off and do my own thing eventually. But like I was trying to be like, oh, like Johnny's sketch looks like this. Maybe my sketch should look like that. Oh, like I remember even like sending you, like working with you to try to get like an apprenticeship, because I had like graduated and I'd gone beyond the time with people would take me as like a intern or an apprentice, because it had been like a year and a half since my graduation. And I don't know if you remember that. Like I was like I briefed myself like a basketball shoe, and I drew stuff, and I followed your Illustrator, and I was like, oh, your Illustrator's like this, and maybe mine should look like that. And I made like a whole shoe, like largely like based on. Like, and
that's not a bad thing. I mean, everyone kind of, it's good to find people that you feel like you can sort of map.
Yeah.
Learn from, because at some point, if you stay hungry and busy, then you'll leave that trajectory.
Right.
Because nobody's path is going to really deliver no one else's path is ever going to deliver what you are going to want in the end. And so you use it to guide you, and then at the right place and time, you sort of leave it.
Yeah. And
you go find your own way of expressing. I mean, I feel the same. I feel similar things for other people.
Right.
You know, of course, again, we mentioned Spencer Nugent with his sketching. And then we had, like, for me, Casey Jarvis, who I think he's back at Black Diamond now, but he was at GM, Nike, Black Diamond. I think it was a VP at Under Armour. Yeah. He definitely went like he like took the path of management and director. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something for all of us to sort of aspire to, because that's how you can have the most influence.
Right.
But I really was just like blown away always by when he was putting pencil to paper and designing product.
Did you see his designs?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything. I've seen finished shoes, but I've never like.
Yeah, he came to BYU a couple times and presented.
Yeah.
And he was in Salt Lake at Black Diamond after he left Nike. I think he was like, I don't know. He went to Black Diamond as like a design director or something. Yeah. Something in the director role.
Right.
And so he was in Salt Lake. And so I was kind of bugging him and tracking him down and interviewing and sharing my work. Sweet. And I mean, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at those guys who have done it in ways that you respect and ways that resonate with you, and you learn all you can from it. And at some point, like I said, those, not that you don't look up to them anymore, because you still do, but just as a younger designer, it's so much easier to maintain relationships and seek out mentors, and they're often interested and willing, and it's just it's good, nice relationships as you're coming up. So yeah, I would say that I kind of hit that. I started at Reebok and kind of started gaining some momentum through Reebok and through the opportunities I was given there.
Right.
Yeah, man. So I guess that kind of puts us through the.
Hold on.
I guess that's the.
We're flying here.
That's the bio. But we can revisit any of it, of course.
Hold on. I like what you said about you, because I feel like I didn't have anyone. I felt like the only person I knew that like I felt like was doing it right was you. Like I think I was like coming on the tail end of like no one in footwear showing their stuff. Like I don't know where to go. Like there
can definitely be like a little bit of like an attitude, maybe not now, but it seems like, and you can tell me if you agree, like in design there can be an attitude of like not wanting to share because you think that it diminishes your work because other people can know your secrets or like, they might, I don't know, there can be some of that.
Yeah.
And I've observed some of that, and I don't know. Do you feel like that
but it's funny. I've swung the complete other way now. Like, I'm just like, here's everything I've ever done.
I think as you get more mature, as you mature as a designer, you sort of realize that like, nothing you're doing is like worth being like that type of a person, probably.
Yeah. Well,
like hiding, and it makes you better. Yeah. It makes you better to like be open. I think we talk about that. My timeline may be wrong, but I just remember I think talking with Spencer Nugent because his sketches were so great. And at that time, like and we were doing marker and pen, right? And so like to create, it was almost like artwork, which is not good. It's not good to feel like design process is not artwork. We can't be like in love with it in that way. Otherwise you end up answering the wrong questions or give the wrong answers to the right questions. Oh, shoot. So like I remember talking with him or in one of his sketch sessions that we do, he just like crumple up his sketch and just chuck it in the trash. And I was like, dang, dude, like that was such a cool sketch. And like, if it was mine, I knew that I would be like all precious about it.
Sure.
And be like, oh, I'm cool. Like, look how cool my sketch is. I'm going to like take this with me everywhere I go.
Right.
I mean, exaggerating of course, but makes the point that like, and there was something about the way that he talked about it. I think that he kind of taught me that like, if you can disconnect from like the possessionship of it, it opens you to create more. And also it kind of, your mentality shifts from like being stuck with what you've already done. And it kind of shifts the confidence to what you're going to do. So it's like, chuck that stuff in the trash because you know the next one's going to be better. And there's going to be no shortage of sweet sketches, great ideas. But if you kind of fall in love with it, then you end up like, it screws all sorts of things up.
Right. Ooh.
But I think I'm realizing like probably a lot of times in this conversation where I'm going to be like, I don't know how we got there.
Yeah.
But bring us back, Jake.
No, but no, that's great. I'm like trying to like put pins in things that I'm like, okay. Well, what I'm hearing is clearly Spencer had some influence on your trajectory or your
I mean, Spencer and I. Yeah, Spencer was a year ahead of me. I think it was. And Spencer, he kind of communicated to us, and I don't know, I hope this isn't like too inside baseball talking like BYU stuff, but these are, our relationships, my relationships. But Spencer, he kind of showed our whole program that like you could go and get an internship before your junior year.
Oh, yeah.
So that was huge. Like nobody knew that you could do that.
Man.
And Spencer did it. And so then that made me believe that I could do it, which led to me getting my first internship before my junior year.
Dang.
And then he was at Astro Studios, which is like tier 1 world-class design studio. And seeing him do that made me feel like, if we can do that, if someone from our team can do that, then any of us should be able to do that. And I think that Spencer's whole class, honestly, and I had, Casey Jarvis, I don't know where he sat in that. You had Jeremy Saxton, who's exceptional designer, up at that same, like there were years enough ahead of me that I never went to any classes with them, but like you knew about them, you saw their work. Casey was doing amazing stuff at Nike. Saxton was also doing amazing work at Nike. Actually, he's the one who kind of like sent me in the direction. I mean, everyone has kind of like an origin story, right? Of like, how'd you get into ID? I don't know why it seems like everyone who's in ID has one of those stories. But I guess a lot of it's because we didn't know, like a lot of people didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
So then you discover it.
Yeah.
But, so, there's kind of like this, family tree, I guess, of sorts where it's like, so-and-so influenced so-and-so who influenced so-and-so. But we had the class above me, I feel like they really cracked open like the possibilities of what a BYU industrial design student could achieve.
Right.
With Spencer Nugent, John Mellencamp, And who else? You had Andres, who's gone on to do amazing things. Jason Raleigh, who we talked about, who's doing great stuff at Puma.
Yep.
So they really showed our group like what was achievable. And then my class has had just some real exceptional achievements in maybe not as much in footwear, but like some of my classmates doing stuff in real like sophisticated product design spaces. And
you talk
then that trickles down, you know?
Yeah. It's funny. I wish I would have like heard of some of this stuff. It's like, I was far enough removed. It was just like, I was like,
well, it was all cool. Kind of happening at once, you know?
Yeah,
like, did I know that Andres was going to become, a concept artist in Hollywood? Like, no clue. No clue. Had no clue that that's where he would have ended up. But like his foundation, I think he might agree. I don't know. I guess I don't know for sure, but like he was there in those studios and those classrooms with us, hustling and spending the time and trying to create, the best they could. And, just see where these guys have ended up is inspiring and fun too, So you lean on that, and then you kind of, I got pay it forward, I guess is a phrase some people say, but
let's talk about, I want to do a time check. We're in 43 minutes. And I feel like we still haven't gotten to like how you do your day to day. Like how do you, or I really want to get to like the journey from Footwear 1 to senior to manager to all that stuff. I want to dive into I think we've got, I think in my mind, we've like captured the foundation.
Cool.
Which is kind of like, I don't think it's something I've talked about before. And actually I'm like, in my mind, self-reflecting, like, did I take advantage of my formative design years? Like in the same, like, I'm like now looking like side to side, like, did I do like, comparison's never like the best thing, but like, I'm like, I don't know if I truly knew what I had when I had it, like for me, college was just like fun, like happy town. Like I was just like doing, like design was part of it, but I always was just like, it's just like a means to an end. And that end is a family and a house. Like I never took it to like the nth degree where I was like, well, now I want to be like a super, like when you guys talk about going to Astro, I'm like, I didn't like, that was like out of the realm of possibility for my mind. I was like, I'm not like, they would talk about those types of consultancies like all the time. Like, oh, we have this guy going to, Cinco, and this guy is going to Fahrenheit, and this guy is going here and here. And I was just like, I'm going to go do furniture with the guy who just like started his own company and like do kids stools. Like I was like, I don't know if I wanted to compete like that. Like, it's
I mean, I don't know where we pick our spots, we find our spots that work for us.
Yeah.
I think that, perspective's a big part of it. Like your access to perspective.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of us, if you grew up in kind of a suburban, not really a high energy culture wise, or if the culture there doesn't really, like in Utah, I mean, you could have very well gotten into snowboarding and ski culture, but that was real deal front edge culture in that space. But like there wasn't a whole lot of other options, growing up in Utah and being like, who could I aspire to creatively?
Yeah, right.
So, some of that stuff we can't really control, but I think, the world's getting smaller, for designers coming up. I mean,
it's like at the fingertips.
Yeah, it's at your fingertips. And
that the gap is definitely gone. Like,
I mean, you can see anything and everything you want to see, and you can figure out where to find it, and you can, and that's cool. I think in a way, like when things become really flat, like open access, like it does seem like that brings some other challenges. But yeah, I think that none of us can look back and we can't be too critical about the path that we were on. You know what I mean? There's nothing, you don't have any ability to have changed it at the time or understood even what that, like you can't step outside yourself and see it. I don't think. And even me, like I'm like thinking like I was in the Bay Area and like I'm an idiot for not trying to stay. You know, like I left the Bay Area to go to Salt Lake. It's like, are you like, how dumb are you? And at the same time, that was 2008. And it's like, well, 2008 and 2009, a lot of designers were getting laid off. It was a tough time. There wasn't a lot of business. So, you know, you never know. You never know what leads to what. But
I think it all ends up jiving for a reason.
Hopefully.
I definitely have liked when I look back on my kind of like journey, it all feels like very personalized to myself. Like partly because I was probably the one trodden the path anyway.
Dictating
like,
it. Yeah.
But it's very much like this is me, and in somehow like I found success in being like me. And that was the other thing I was gonna say about like the Instagram thing was like you did your thing, but I have seen like spin-offs, but they're people who are very good, but they're doing it like their own way. And it's definitely derivative of like what you kind of did, like in a very like flowy sketch way. Some people have gone very like messy, and some people have gone like super refined, but it is still like a shoe on a square in the middle. Like, and
yeah, I mean, I don't know that I can be attributed for that sort of,
but I see the thread and I'm like, look, there's no way that someone's not seeing that stuff and saying, oh, well, I can do that. But I think that's the beauty of it too, is like people ask me, how do I get in and how do I contribute and how do I be a footwear designer? And my answer is always the thing that I cannot copy is like you and like how you are going to approach. The thing that is unique is that like my brain is not your brain. Like, and so if you're going to bring, you know, and you build your own talents and you know, dive into what you're good at, but like what you're bringing to the table is never going to be like the exact thing that I bring to the table. And I think that's like,
yeah. I mean, if we wanted to talk a little bit
like
more about that,
I do feel like you have to have there still has the ability has to be there. You can't just like come in and the shoe can't look terrible or, you know, whatever it is. Like you still have to have that level where like it's acceptable. Like, you know, like there's
if I had to think about like the paces, like the diversity of being able to see things from a different point of view and that being of inherent value is certainly true. But at what point is that useful to the real world process, right? Like as a young designer, your unique point of view, you know, look yourself in the mirror, like accept a little bit of criticism. It might not be that useful. It might not be that creative. But your unique point of view as you become more educated and have more work under your belt, that can then become like a strength of yours. But like when you're coming up, it's certainly, there's just so much you don't know. But like for me, like I think that, you know, taste is certainly one thing that we all need to work on and maintain. And that's something that I've almost always felt like taste is just sort of like comes through osmosis by being around things that are tasteful or high taste, and practice, you know, like, everyone wants to, I mean, we were the same. Like I keep going back to my experience and thinking about how I have parallels to the, you know, the points of view that I have today. Just like people they ask me, hey, what brush are you using? What tool are you using?
Yeah.
What program are you using? What stylus are you using? And it's like, I think about the time when I was asking Spencer that.
Yeah.
What type of paper is that? Oh,
Yeah.
that's laser paper. Laser paper has a better tooth on it. Oh, okay, cool. What pen is that? You know, it's like, but once you've actually been through it, you realize that really it feels like all that stuff matters at the moment. But really, once you've actually done it yourself, you realize, oh, now I get, like Spencer always said, that doesn't matter.
Right.
And then as I practiced enough to not really worry about what other people were sketching,
Yeah.
I realized, and people started asking me those questions, I realized that like, oh yeah, like all it is practice. It doesn't, like whatever the tool is. Mm-hmm. Pick whatever tool is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
It may be the iPad because just in terms of like access and ability to have meaningful practice at your fingertips, you know, for me, that's what makes sense.
Right.
And just kind of like practicing without expectation, just putting in the reps, you know?
Right.
And like speaking further to that, like I kind of slipped into that, seeing my point of view a little bit more clearly when I was, so when Reebok was owned by Adidas, mm-hmm. when I was at Reebok, and they had started doing this setup where they were sending designers from the broader brand of right. Adidas Group to the Brooklyn Creator Farm.
Yep.
They were sending like anywhere from 5 to 10 at a time. And it seems to me like the whole premise was like, we're going to send creatives to the Brooklyn Creator Farm, and they're going to learn how they do things at the Brooklyn Creator Farm and maybe contribute to like briefs or whatever they may need. And then they'll stay there for 3 months, and then they'll go back to wherever their teams were and sort of take whatever learnings those were. And that'll be a way for us to sort of like pollinate creativity throughout the company.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity to go to Brooklyn. And when I was there, met Jean Khalif, mm-hmm. who I think his handle's like John Kaiser Knight or something. I think he may have changed it, but
maybe. Yeah.
So he was there, and I saw like how he was sketching so out of the box. Like he wasn't limited by like the proportions of a real shoe.
Right.
And that was very uncomfortable for me at first. And it was uncomfortable for other people too, because a shoe's a shoe and you can't just like, and a foot's a foot. You can't, you know, but he played with that, and he was also very good. And so he had freedom in that way. So seeing that and being at this studio for a few months where I didn't have briefs, like I kind of had briefs, but it was more in support of like the design team that was there. Mm-hmm. I was just sketching all day. Like, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, I really think I say all day, and now I'm going to dial it back. I think I really was probably sketching 4 to 6 hours, 5 days a week for maybe 8 to 10 weeks.
Right.
And I totally reinvented, not purposefully, but in that amount of time, just by being in that space, that amount of time sketching, it just changed the utility of sketching totally changed.
Right.
And became like a superpower rather than just like a part of the process. It was right. like, no, this is like how I am going to like, and again, it was just kind of natural. Like the situation sort of like pointed me in that direction, and that's where I ended up. But
yeah, walk me through your sketching every day.
Yeah.
4 to 6 hours, 5 days a week for 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah. So
reinvents your.
Yeah. Yep. It just like it was like a level up that I needed.
Yeah.
Like I had felt pretty stagnant. Like my process was my process, and it was just cool to like be in an environment where it kind of forced me to.
Where are you at that point? What's your
title?
Yeah. What's your title?
I was a senior designer at Reebok. Yeah.
Were they sending everybody there? Like regardless?
No, it was just, I don't know. I think honestly, I'd been complaining a lot at Reebok and was like, I need something. This is driving, like I'm being driven crazy a bit. And I think that Adidas was allowing Reebok to send a person.
Yeah.
And so they were like, get Jonny out of here.
Wow.
Slash, it wasn't just that. It was like, he would want to do this.
Yeah.
And so we'll, so I was lucky enough to be able to go and do that and just change the environment.
Yeah.
And be around people who were exceptional at what they did. And be in an environment that was like very creative,
right,
and clearly creatively driven.
Right.
And, so being in the office and like, hey, like the team's working on XYZ shoes, or we're thinking about the future of running, or, whatever thing, what are closures without laces, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't own the project. So I don't have to think about any tech packing. I don't have to think about communications with factories. I don't have to think about any real world application. I mean, I have to think of, that's not the right way to say it. I just don't have to worry about the logistical parts.
Yeah.
I'm just here to support the team. And the best way that I can support them is ideation.
Yeah.
And so I was just free. I felt like I was an intern again.
Yeah.
But I was an intern having been in the industry for, a while. And I just reverted back into that mode of just like being creative.
You were just cranking for anybody that you could.
I mean, it was just like, hey, we're working on Harden's new hoop shoe for, I can't remember the years, but that's what we're working on. So let's get some ideas out. So
how was your stuff received? I mean, you did like, was any of it used, or is it like added on? Like, is that?
I think it certainly influenced the thinking. It was certainly put into the bucket of like what we're pulling from.
Yeah.
But I was there such a short time that I wasn't, and we had samples coming back that was like integrating different, parts and pieces of what the team was putting together. But the team was also working very collaboratively. Yeah. And, that's a testament to like Dejan, and then like Josh Herr, who was a PM at the time. I don't know what his title was, but he was kind of leading the briefing and stuff. And they were great at just like creating a very just like collaborative environment of creativity. Yeah. It was all directed, so it wasn't just like a free for all. And I came out of that, just feeling like totally leveled up in sketching. Mm-hmm. And I think that my sketching was fine before that. But it became like,
what's the
I think
level
sketching is like, it kind of became like thinking. It was no longer sketching. Yeah. And it was just like, if you were writing down words, like sketching became that same process. Right. It was just like ask a question and answer it in sketch form. And, that's not to like get stuck on this whole sketching thing, but it's just a good tool for thinking. Yeah. And it's a fun tool. Yeah. It's fun. It's relaxing at times. Mm-hmm. It churns you forward. Yeah. It answers questions. Yeah. It helps invite people into the conversation. Yeah.
That was
all those things.
That's what we're going to do like a series of portfolio reviews, and largely most of the portfolios are not, they're aspiring. Mm-hmm. And like the first thing I saw on like 3 or 4 of them were like the sketch pages were not like, they need to be like alive, like it's like it's the energy, like
the thing. It's interesting, like the idea of energy behind like a visual presentation or like a visual asset, we could call it. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. It can be tricky, right? Because exciting visuals can manipulate an audience, right? And that can be beneficial to a designer. Like, I want to manipulate you. Right. I want you to think the way that I think. I want you to agree with what I'm saying. Right. So, being a designer in a lot of ways is being a salesman. But now with the tools that we have, with AI, artificial intelligence, not Adobe Illustrator. You can create an asset, a visual asset that would have taken someone days to create,
right?
And you can do it in an instant.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for finding the answers to questions? So like, I guess as I'm saying this, I guess I'm realizing that like a benefit, if sketching is not the creation of visual assets and it is the process of answering important questions, then it remains relevant. And it can remain relevant because it's not like the AI, the AI renderer is not answering questions that you need to ask about your consumer or like your construction methods or your price point or, so yeah, I think sketching is a really important tool. I'm very biased towards it. Not everyone that I work with uses it in the same way.
Sure.
And some people, maybe they can make the jumps mentally without going through them on paper. They can just intuit a little bit. But I find that it's just a great tool for thinking.
Yeah.
And I remember in school that one of our professors said something like, everybody thinks about the first 200 answers. It's like, that's easy. So you need to get beyond that. You need like the first two, pick a number.
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is.
200.
Let's say it's 100.
Yeah.
The first 100 solutions, everybody's already thought of those.
Right.
And sketching, how else can you iterate 100 times? Right? Like, so sketching allows you, and I have certain examples where I actually probably did iterate 100, where you start to get, and I'd also feel like on any project I have to, kind of have to swim in it for like maybe 6 to 8 hours of sketching. And then things start to like reveal themselves as being like actually useful, interesting. But yeah, so circling back, and feel free to interrupt me and circle me back because I'll head down some rabbit holes, man.
You're just going, and I'm like, that's good, okay. But people hear from me all the time, so I'm like, just let my guests go.
It might be the big brother gene in me.
Yeah,
I just start talking your off. But we were talking about coming up.
Yeah, tie it like
So that was the farm. That all stems from like the farm experience.
So, but when you hit Reebok, are you coming in because you had 5 years before? Yeah. Were you coming in title wise, and then?
I think at the time, I don't know what it was, what the exact name of, but it was a click below senior.
Okay, so 2-ish area for the Portland crowd.
Yep, came in as a 2. And that's where I connected with Seth Maxwell.
Yep.
And
we have a question from Seth. We will be
thank heavens for Seth. I mean, he's such a great dude to work with and work around.
Yeah.
That being at Reebok and having had him, he had been there, I think, 6 months to a year or something.
Yeah.
So it was great to jump on his team. And I was a designer too, I guess. That sounds right.
Yeah.
And our senior designer on that team switched teams right after I started. And I think there was one other shift. There was like 2 shifts really quickly after I started that made me the senior designer of the small team just by title. Yeah. Because like the other senior designer had left, and there was one other shift or something that happened where all of a sudden it was just me there, and then Seth. Yeah. And so it was just like me and Seth just like do whatever we wanted. Yeah. I mean, we had PMs, of course, but just kind of me and him. Yeah. Just like working and designing and getting after it. Yeah. And it was a great time. Reebok at that time was like such a cool place to be. Yeah.
You started in training?
Yeah. So I was in training the whole time? Not the whole time. I changed my last year. But was doing training product. So CrossFit was huge.
Yep.
At the time, CrossFit was huge. And at Reebok, it was like our soul. Like that's what we were about. Yeah. Although Classics was huge. Yeah. But like the ethos of the company felt like CrossFit was like, right. You know, the kind of the driver. So doing Olympic weightlifting, looking good on there?
Yeah, I'm just doing a time.
Olympic weightlifting, CrossFit, a little bit of wrestling exploration, which was good for me. I mean, I don't view myself as being like completely in touch with trend and what the coolest thing on the planet is. I mean, I can observe it and kind of intuit some of that, but like I like to be more I'm more comfortable where things are measurable.
Yeah,
where we're making things to improve experience and performance.
Yep.
That's also, I think that's like more of an industrial design mindset as well.
Yep.
So I was there for, I think 2 years before changing to senior designer. And then with senior designer, doing the same thing basically, just different title, same work.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Reebok moved offices. It's kind of some tumultuous times at Reebok, just a lot of change. They were sold soon after we moved, downsized offices.
But you went to...
Seth had gone to New Balance.
When was the farm?
The farm was in 2019.
So like...
So we had...
tail end.
Yeah, so the farm was 2019 and then COVID 2020. And I left... I think I left Reebok early 22.
Yeah.
My wife and I had our first son, and
it
was like a good time to like, her work's really important, and it was just we were like, well, what should we do? And so I stepped away from. Seemed like a good time to step away from Reebok. Sure. I needed a change.
Sure.
And stepped away from Reebok. But my last chapter at Reebok was during COVID. Was a design manager of athletic leisure, which was our walking category that was going to get rolled into, it was getting like kind of reworked into like an athletic leisure space rather than like a walking thing. And that was amazing. I mean, what makes the difference at a workplace at these different brands, right? Because there's these like the Nikes, the Adidas, the New Balances, there's like Puma, there's big names, there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 brands.
Yep. And
you can get caught up in like thinking like it's so different at these more established, bigger brands, the work experience, the creativity, the teams that you're working with.
Yep.
But really what makes the day-to-day difference is just like the person you're directly working with, like the one person in the brand. Yeah. Like the brand could be hundreds of people. The brand could be, X thing that projects this sort of like energy or importance to the consumer. And that certainly like as a designer, you're looking to resonate with that, but like day to day, your developer, your PM, your design director, and you. Yeah. And your design director, actually, if you're a good designer doing your work, they're like off doing other things. Yeah, so it's just you, your developer, and your PM. Yeah. And at Reebok, like I had a killer PM and a killer developer. Yeah. And so like while the brand was going through changes and difficulties in a lot of different ways, like I knew that I could come in and work with my guys who I respected what they did. I trusted what they did. They trusted what I did. Yeah. And it just felt like we were just building stuff together, just buddies building stuff together. Yeah. And so that was sweet. At Reebok.
That is largely, it's like what's happening with the brain is somewhat background noise. As long as like you have this like relationship that's good amongst the two people that you talk to.
Yeah, man. It's understandable that like, oh, like I've always wanted to be a, name or brand.
But it doesn't.
And then once you get into it, now I could be, that's been my experience.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I've never worked at Nike. I've never worked at full on Adidas.
But from Reebok to New Balance, is that true?
That experience. So like, shifting to, so shifting from Reebok to New Balance is like, it's as hot as it could be, right? Like it's like, it's killing.
Yeah.
The brand's doing exceptional.
Yeah.
And I really like some things about New Balance that have been unexpected. It's a private company.
Yeah.
We have a part of our manufacture in the US and a line of our product that's made in the US. Yeah. So that brings with it some cultural things in our offices that I think is awesome. The office that I go to, like we literally have factory. One of the floors is the factory. And it's not like I can go and visit at any time, but just knowing that that's going on and seeing those people and those workers working on that product and bringing it to life. And it's like it's the product we're most proud of as a brand. Like that really seeps into the ethos. I've not felt that before.
Yeah.
Like when I was at Reebok, I didn't feel connected to the brand.
Right.
But at New Balance, I'm just like, I respect like the leadership. I think they have like awesome goals and they're chasing those goals. They're serious about those goals. I love what we do in the US with our product. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on at the brand. And at the same time, like my team is dynamic and interesting, different points of view, exceptional talent. The design management is great.
Man.
So it's been a little bit, but New Balance is also going through, I would say, like some growing pains with all this attention, and like the numbers just keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
That they're going through change. And so they're learning how to do that and how to do it well. But that's definitely the idea of like change as a designer, like that's something I've always experienced. There's always something changing that's putting pressure on different aspects of a brand or the way that you're working.
Yeah.
And that can get pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
But I guess you kind of get a little bit better at navigating it.
Yep. Is that part of moving up, maturing?
Well, so it's interesting. You say moving up. So
becoming more influential or more. You said earlier that like the goal is to eventually be director or whatever. Well,
I think when I was younger, that definitely was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know what.
What is it you add that like gets you
to those higher to go to the next level?
Yeah.
So being up as for me,
not like broadly, but like in your movement from level to level, like what are you adding?
I think convincing people that when they give you a project, you're going to bring it to life above and beyond. It doesn't have to be above and beyond necessarily, but in full expression.
Right.
Like when a young designer is given a project, the surrounding team is going to help get it to its best expression.
Right.
And quite honestly, not every project needs to get to a full expression of what it could be. Let's be honest. But when it's a project that needs to reach like its full expression and needs to like hit.
Yeah.
When you're able to show that the team, by giving you the responsibility of bringing it to life, they can let you cook and let you do that. And when you come back and you give them a presentation and about like what the brief was, your breakdown of like the consumer, precedent product, competitor product, how it's being used, who the consumer is, the different directions that you can go, why you would want to go in those different directions, how you're communicating those directions visually, and getting to a point of view. Like, that's really where people are going to start to like buy into individuals as like important parts of their team or leaders within the team.
Right.
Because not like, as a designer, we think everything's about design, and that's fine. Right. I still kind of feel that way, but a brand, you know, there's so much more going on that, and you're dealing with people who aren't designers more often than you're dealing with people who are.
Yeah.
So like your ability to work with those people and be a part of that team and bring the design point of view that's also respectful of the developer role and the PM and the brand and creative direction and cost and all these different things, then you start to be like a real asset. Right. And they don't have to worry about, adding support or getting design directors or design managers like, hey, we're not quite getting there or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the design manager or the design director, proactively like putting themselves like a little bit more present in a project.
Right.
So being able to navigate on your own, having ownership and running it and delivering against it, is a big one. That's a real big one.
And you notice that.
I think that kind of is one of my strengths. Is presenting, like breaking down the opportunity, and then walking us through what that could be. It's the design process. I mean, that's all it is. It's first working to understand what you're trying to accomplish, why you're trying to accomplish it, the different components that go into it, and then just marching through.
Yeah.
and grinding through, really like churning, because it's a churn to get through each. But if you build that pyramid correctly, then where you ended up will always be really strong and obvious. Like if you're building it from like a really broad frame base. So I think that's always been kind of because that's how I have to think for me to understand where to go. Yeah. It's almost like I have to do it for myself. It happens to be useful in the broader context of like the brand and creating the product and presenting at design reviews and that sort of stuff.
Right.
But in order for me to feel good about or to know where to go, I kind of have to do that. And so I have noticed, though, that is part of what keeps some designers back, is an inability to break it down concisely, clearly, expertly. Like, it also has to be high-level work. Yeah. And then when you're done, say, so that's why I got where I got. What do you guys have feedback?
Right.
And when you've also done it well, like hearing people's feedback is welcome rather than being threatening.
Interesting.
And that's part of it too, is like a designer who, if you can mature to a point where people's feedback isn't threatening, that reveals probably two things. That probably reveals that, number one, you understand the process and the project, and you've presented in a way that is very robust,
right,
and fair. Like it's not a bias. It's not like a biased presentation. And then number two, you don't feel diminished when someone critiques you, because you're so confident that you've done good work that, like, the critique, it's not about the work being good or not. It's about whether the work is right or whether the answer that you're proposing is the best one, because there could be an alternate one, but that alternate answer is still going to be based in your great work that you've done. Can
we just sit in that for a second? Just sit in that for a second? Because that's something I needed to hear. I don't know what everyone else is going to want to hear from all that, but because like I have still, like, even today, like I'm like, man, I still just take it a little too, like, critique just, I don't know what it is. I just like.
Well, let's be fair. Like most people,
yeah.
the majority of people don't know how to critique.
Yeah.
So you go in a room with a bunch of people who don't know how to give feedback that's useful, helpful,
yeah.
or gets you to the right place.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily know how to do that, but they do know how to share their opinion.
Yeah.
And so you end up, I mean, I'll be honest, like I still feel I've gotten better at it, but that's also partly like who you're working with. Like if you're working with the same people, that becomes much easier.
Oh, interesting.
It's when you switch, like I switched brands, right? There's like a trust equity that you lose when you go from one brand to the next.
Yeah.
It's like all those people who trusted your process at one place.
Yeah.
Well, this new place has no idea what you can deliver. Yeah. All these sketches that aren't the right proportions.
Yeah.
You know, that don't have, because I hate rendering.
Yeah.
I don't render anything. Like I like to keep it as rudimentary sketching until the last moment. Like, so they're going to look at that process and be like, I don't know what that sketch is going to turn into.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, if you don't know what that sketch is going to turn into, you're an idiot. You know, like you don't know shoes. But that's of course wrong. That's of course, I'm saying that. Yeah. I'm exaggerating. But like, so that's part of it too, is you need to get comfortable with a group of people in a team. But
nice.
But if you've done good work, I find that when I'm unprepared, that's when critiques go the worst.
Yeah.
Is because you're speaking from an uninformed place potentially.
Yeah.
Like if your foundation's only 3 legs and you needed 4, there's going to be a corner of conversation that's going to be uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
So,
and it's going to get found.
Sometimes I definitely try, you know, sometimes there isn't always time.
Yeah.
But
sure.
And if not every project, like, let's be honest, like as a design student, you think of the design process as being this like sacred, worshipful thing where it's like, this is inherently like, I don't know what. We think it's so special.
Right.
But really it's just the only purpose of it is to deliver a shoe.
Yeah.
And so there are definitely going to be times you want to be prepared. I always want to be prepared. And I always want that process to take me to where that shoe is. But sometimes if the shoe's just great, then people aren't going to try and poke holes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And you're fine. I mean, I've certainly had times where people tried to poke holes and they did, and it was extremely painful and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Is this recently or is this not?
The most recent, most painful, I won't go into it, was probably 2 years ago.
Man.
Probably the most difficult design critiques and processes I've ever done in my career. Yeah. Happened probably 2-ish years ago.
So there's still pasture. There's still space. For you to grow. Like there's still
I mean there's different reasons for that.
Yeah.
A lot of it was that like there was some disagreements from a high level about directions that things should go. Sure. And so sometimes a designer can get stuck in the middle a little bit. Yeah. And that can be really tough because you're trying to answer one ask that's, if you answer it, the other ask gets unanswered or even rejected. And so sometimes there's situations like that can get a little wild, and you know, luckily survived it, and you know, some good lessons there for myself and broader teams. But like, critiques can be tricky, but I think that like we kind of set down we were talking about this just in terms of like growing as a designer from level 1 to level 2 to whatever the levels, however many there are that you're climbing, and where you want that to put you, whether you're going to head down like a individual contributor, like expert path.
Yeah.
There's different names for it, but
Yeah,
like
man.
if you're going to continue to be the person who puts pen to paper throughout your career, I think that that's becoming more common.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to, or if you're going to manage,
yeah. The ability to handle critique needs to be pretty managed if you're going to expert level.
yeah,
You need to be able to throttle that and be like, oh, if you just wait till you see what I got next.
And one thing, like critiques, like one thing that I've learned late is like being critiqued, you can ask questions, you can ask clarifying questions that can help, what's the right word? Like not protect you, but like sort of make it not feel like, you know, I've presented, now all you guys tell me what I have, you know, critique me.
Like you join in.
But like you join in and say, like I've had critiques where, you know, if I don't agree with it, even saying I don't agree and just saying something like, stuff like I'm just like the way that you handle critique, the way that you receive it and the way that you respond to it, you don't have to not be hurt by it or like triggered by it.
Right.
But you can own that and be like, look, like I feel pretty uncomfortable with the feedback, but that doesn't mean the feedback's wrong.
Yeah.
I just maybe need some time to sit with it.
Yeah.
Are you guys cool? I'm going to sit with it, circle back on what this means. Maybe I can come back with some questions. Yep. And that especially is tough to do in a moment when it's like you're on, like sometimes we'll present on like a screen that's like massive and it can feel sometimes quite formal.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, well, this isn't a time to like have a conversation, but it always is. And even just pushing back a little bit with a question that says, okay, you said that this wasn't working. Tell me more about why you think that. Sure. Or it's not that you're trying to put them on the spot, but you're trying to understand it.
Yeah.
That can be helpful.
It's all very, I would say these types of skills are very, they're not necessarily present when you're first starting as a footwear designer. These are skills that you've learned over time, because that response is something that I totally agree with, but it's not something I learned until
totally natural.
You know, it's like something that just kind of like it's the mature way, or you know, like I don't know, it's like the coming of age way to answer like critique. And I don't want to get lost on critique because I feel like we've already talked a bit about it, but like
but it is definitely one of those things to keep in mind.
Yeah.
It's something that people don't teach either.
Yeah.
So like, unless you really take some time on your own, I mean, you can learn it over years.
Yeah.
Like that's basically how I've chosen to learn about it, is to just like deal with it and probably not great year after year after year after year after year. And then you're like, it's just tiring doing it wrong. So let's learn some lessons.
Let me, kind of rapid fire stuff.
Yep. I'll try and keep it tight.
We'll do this rapid fire. We're going to do, there's 4 questions. I think that might end up being 3, but one question that someone asked, I put it out on Instagram. We have people who have gone a non-industrial design route, and they're wondering if it is like how do they get the transition? Someone was an apparel designer, someone
into footwear.
Yeah. How
does anyone,
like, what's your take on that?
Well, I mentioned it in this conversation. Like the beautiful thing about being a designer and a creative is that you don't need anybody's permission.
Yeah.
You don't need anybody's budget. You can dream up any brief you want and deliver on the brief.
Yeah.
You can't make the shoe.
Yeah.
But you don't need to make the shoe. Unless that's part of your exploration is that you want to be like actually like patterning.
Yeah.
But I would say for anybody, come up with a brief. It can be as simple as, I'm going to do a signature shoe for so-and-so. That's a really simple brief. it can be as deep and broad as you want it to be.
Right.
And you just find a thread that takes you forward to deliver against it.
Yeah.
And then and the beautiful thing about doing like your own brief is that it exercises all the muscles that are important as a designer.
Right.
So you can do full design process. You can show design thinking. You can show an ability to pick a path forward.
Yeah.
You can show sketching skills, layout skills, Adobe Illustrator skills,
right.
graphic design skills, photo editing skills.
Yeah.
Like you can show all of that through your own created brief. And I've done that many times.
Yeah.
I've created, and when I knew that I wanted to interview certain places, put together a brief, design against the brief. It gives you a chance to create something. So that is what I would say. I would say create your own briefs. Don't like, and maybe even do like, commit yourself to doing like 4 of them. Like saying, I'm going to do one quick, like maybe over the course of a couple days from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do like a self-critique around like, okay, what went well here? What didn't? You know, did the place I end up go, you know, did I end up at a good spot? And then do a little more robust and a little more robust because your first one's probably not going to be great.
Right.
So, and then I would just say like for me, I mean, quite honestly, like I knew that I wanted to pivot from Reebok and I decided, okay, I'm going to do it through Instagram.
Yeah.
So just pick your lab that you want to experiment in and just go to work. And for me, it was committing to, I'm going to post a sketch every single day to Instagram. And that's going to take me, I don't know, I'm going to sit there and sketch while I watch Netflix and I'm going to post.
Yep.
And it might take me 45 minutes, might be quicker, might be longer, but that's a commitment that I can control.
Right.
I can't control anybody saying I can interview with them. I can't control anybody calling me and offering me a job. So I would say just practicing in that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of places are open and interested in finding people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like when I was at the farm, multiple of them were found through Instagram. Some of the coworkers that I have now were just through Pencil.
Yeah. Do you So what I'm hearing is create your brief, do shoes,
Like, you can do other things. I think other things are fine. I think they're actually quite important. And my current portfolio has stuff that is not shoes.
Yeah.
But you definitely, if you're applying for a shoe job, then you need to show that you can deliver.
Yeah.
And
so then make it public is what you're saying.
I think that you can. I don't think that you have to make all of it public, but if you are having a hard time getting interviews, then yes. Yeah. Then you have to have a place where anyone and everyone can see your stuff. Again, it's exactly what I did at Instagram. It's like, I can't send a portfolio to all the people that I might be interested, or I don't even know who they are. Yeah. There's too many people. Yeah. So I'm just going to create a place where people can come across my work, click on it, scroll through it. Yep. If they like what they see, they'll reach out. Yep. Which is what happened with New Balance. Yeah.
That's
although I had been in touch with New Balance years previous with the guy who ended up hiring me, but I think Instagram is really what keeps you present of mind.
That's crazy. That's how I got my first. That's how I got my first job. It's just Instagram. They didn't even ask for my portfolio. Like Brooks was just like, "We saw your stuff. Looks good." You're like, oh, okay, like right on. Like, yep. Okay. Well, I hope that's all. That's a good. I mean, one thing I hope everyone has gotten from this podcast is that this episode of the show. I almost don't want to call it a podcast anymore. I want people to like view visually and not just hear. But that I think you just think so. It's not linear, but although it like shows logic in a linear fashion, but you're very thorough in your thinking. Like you're very like you've analyzed and like systematized like everything. It like feels like you've kind of got like, this is how I'm going to be successful I've tried other ways of not being successful. This is the way I've what is it? Whatever. I can't think of the phrase, but it's like you're not finding the path of least resistance. That's not what this is. This is like a honed, sharpened blade that you've like kind of been like, well, that didn't cut the paper right. I'm going to like sharpen it a little bit better. And now I can drop the hair on and it just splits in half. Like,
I mean, all you can do is control what you can control.
Right.
Like, it doesn't do you any good to worry about the things you can't control.
Yeah.
And I'm a king of that. Yeah. And so, like, I used to be, even recently, I mean, I have a lot of shortcomings, but like, I used to be a type of designer who, like, I'd put blinders on, and it didn't matter if there were like 6 doors in front of me and 3 of them were open, but I was committed to going through that one and it was closed.
Right.
I didn't care that there were other open doors. I would just pound and pound and pound on the one that I wanted.
Oh, crap.
and that's definitely like, I mean, you have to be committed.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put in work, and you kind of have to be a maniac in a certain way. At the same time, I guess, what was Bruce Lee say? Like, be like water. Like, water can crash, water can flow.
Yeah.
Flowing is easier. You may end up somewhere you didn't totally decide on your own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think there's so much within your control as a designer.
Yeah.
Like, be creative, be grounded, and just start like hustling and bringing things to life. That's all it is in the end, is bringing ideas to life. They have to be good ideas, and then they have to be brought to life really well. And then people can't say no to that.
Yeah. That's the fine line I feel like that's where I'm at in my career, is like, I want to be like, I want to flow. I'd like to be the guy that doesn't like, that's not the jerk that's saying like, no, my way's right. But like, and then there's like the other side of me is like, well, I don't want to be a pushover at the same time. I don't want to fall for every idea. So I'm like kind of like walking like that, like, I think that's good. And then I have to like, I'm trying to find the line where like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's a big no. And then somewhere in there's like a path where I'm like, not perceived as like wishy-washy, but I'm like perceived as someone who has
that's totally I can relate to that. And there are times when I have been the one who pushes it through, and it's worked. I've been the one who's pushed it through and it doesn't. The one who questions their own point of view to the point of like losing the path forward. It changes its dynamic. It doesn't stay. So it's tough.
Maybe that's a good segue to Seth Maxwell's question.
Bring it on, Seth.
The first one's a surprise question that I didn't tell you. I didn't pre-tell you.
Did you tell me another one that he asked? Because I didn't.
I told you one that he did ask, but this is one that he wanted me to ask that he says is a joke. What is your favorite active child song?
Oh, jeez.
he's like, that's like the soundtrack
active
to my
child?
that's my.
Oh my gosh,
like,
that's so soundtrack. Funny. Dang, yeah. So that reveals the different phases of life, right? Because when you said active child, I was thinking of my children, who I now have. I now have 2 children. Right. Back then, working with Seth. Yes, like, Active Child, the music group.
Yep, the music group.
Yeah. Those are some inside jokes down in the Reebok days. I don't know if it was me cranking Active Child or Seth, but whatever the case.
That was largely the soundtrack of my time at Modality too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Active Child. Like, dang, dude, I can't even hear what they sound like right now, but I will certainly look them up after we hop off this and see if it's trash or if it was worth.
It was every morning. It was like harps in the studio. Yeah, doesn't that play like the harp?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna track it down though.
Other question from Seth. I have active childs too. So
yes, both forms.
Lots of active children. Okay, this is the question. Let's do Seth's last because I think it'll be the end. I'm going to ask you a question that my wife wanted me to ask.
Okay.
And I don't know if I am mixing up this order now or not, but she wanted me to ask, what do you do outside of designing footwear? Like, what keeps you active? Or
man, in a way, so no, I don't know how personal, not personal, but like I got COVID, got married, have had 2 kids, quit Reebok, got hired at New Balance. All those things happened in the last 5 years. It's like a lot of stuff, right? Like any one of those on their own is like a thing to deal with. And so honestly, I kind of feel like I haven't come out of a lot of that. Like I'm still figuring it out. Like, what does it mean to be a creative, especially a creative who I have always had a personal side project of some kind.
Yeah.
I've always had energy for some exploration. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's one that I'm working on now, but like I did the millipede measuring device, which some people maybe have heard about, but I've always had a little something like that going on. Yeah. And when you become a parent and a spouse, it's like, you don't have the time to like just sit there and be stoked about designing crap. Like there's not a ton of room for that. And also the energy that it takes to do that stuff
words have not been said, I think, on this podcast.
It's tough, man.
It divides your time. Your time gets divided and divided and divided.
Yes. And so what I would say is that luckily New Balance offers me a creative outlet that it's been like sufficient. Like,
are you painting?
No, I know. I'm just saying that like the design projects I have at New Balance, because sometimes when you're doing footwear, you're like, this isn't doing it. Yeah. Like this isn't cool. This isn't fun.
Right.
I'm not feeling creatively satisfied.
Right.
And so I have to go and do something else, like on my own, to just get creative juices going. Yeah. So for me, it's, personal projects, sewing. Like I got into sewing bags at one point. And just any number of different things. So I don't know what that looks like. And maybe, as you get older as a designer, like priorities shift. Right. Like the idea of spending 8 hours, like figuring out a single lug.
So I'm hearing right now.
So what do I do?
You have no hobbies.
I do not know.
Outside of footwear.
That's what you're hearing. But I did tell you about one of them. So I've always wanted to work on cars, but I've always been intimidated to do that. Mm-hmm. So recently I allowed myself to go buy a Lexus LS 430.
Nice.
Which I
rode in.
Which you rode in. I picked you up in. And, I plan to like learn how to screw around with that car. Yeah. Now we'll see, because I'm pretty practical person. So I'm like nervous about like, dang, did I just spend like a bunch of money on this thing that I'm, who knows where it's going to lead. But that's, I think exploring different avenues.
Yeah. It's like, I find the same thing. Like I find like you're living in my creative outlet.
Yeah, exactly.
You are living the
you find something and then you build it.
Yeah. Like you said it exactly right. Like when you're creative, you just like figure out a way to build it and you make it. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Sure do.
I mean, in this world that we live in, like the barriers to do so many things are quite low.
Yeah.
And so
just go buy a car and go work on it.
So I'm still discovering that, quite honestly. I'm discovering what it means to be, and I got married late in life. I was 37.
Yeah.
And so, after that many years of doing your own thing, like it's sort of like a little bit of like, dang, dude, who am I? Like, I don't know. Like, so, I'm optimistic that I'll figure out whatever that looks like, but it might just be hanging out with the kids. I mean, the kids are the best.
I'm more senior in something than Jonny. I have 5 years more marriage than Jonny.
And 2 more children.
2 more kids more.
Yeah.
So I can teach you a thing or two. No, I don't. I find that it has been my hobby. Some people have dogs. Some people go kite surfing. I teach my son how to play soccer.
Yeah, it's going to be family.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
And I learned how to do my own oil changes. I understand that outlet of like, when I see something like a car, I'm like, I should be able to do this. Like, like I've presented projects to people who make millions of dollars. I should be able to tune a car up, you know, like, that's how I approach life, is like, I should be able to do that too. Like if they can do that, I can do that. Why can't I do that?
It takes a little bit. So being willing to explore, that's what I'm trying to get better at, is a willingness to explore different things. Yeah. Cause I've just had, my patterns are so deep and they're, you know, life the last few years has really shaken that up. So
you still play basketball?
We'll see what, I love playing basketball. Yeah. So I used to get out and play at least once a week. Yeah. And then I hurt my shoulder and I'm kind of waiting for it to heal back up.
Oh, shoot.
But, there's that. And then, you know, with the kids getting older, I think travel will become something that we lean into a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I feel that.
I don't know. We're in survival mode, man. I feel like our kids are finally sleeping enough that they can wake up and like feel like, okay, like I don't feel like so crappy.
The only thing that can weaken Jonny is no sleep. And
I wish. There's many things.
That's awesome. I think my wife's gonna love that part. She just wanted that. She asked it in the Instagram.
It's so awful being married to a designer. Like maybe he has some tips to her.
She wants to do a episode of the podcast with the wives of designers, and I'm like, okay.
I mean, I hope that being a designer doesn't affect them so greatly that they have like all this stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think largely it's like a jealousy of having never been to Vietnam. It's like, I'll take you sometime. It'll be great. You'll come walk the lines.
Well, with my wife,
me.
She's better traveled than I am. So she looks at my job and she probably has different thoughts.
Oh, sure.
But,
okay, that's sufficient. So, we're basically the same on the life thing. It's like family and basketball, if I can get it in there, and find a good group of basketball players. I think I just think of it creatively too. Like, how do I maneuver? How do I create space on the court? How do I create? Like, it's all about creation to me. It's like it's always about learning the thing. Like I was with BYU basketball for like 2 years being a manager, like standing next to like Tyler Haws for like a year and a half, just like watching him and talking to him, be like, how'd you do that? Like, what were you thinking when you did this? And like, literally hearing from an expert, you know, like an elite. So it's all just a level of creativity.
I think designers think a lot. Like being a designer, I think it uniquely, it kind of percolates into like all aspects of your.
Yeah. It's just,
maybe it is just who you are. Like you think of things in that way, break it down, try and understand it.
Yeah. It's like chess. All right. Last question, and then we're going to be done for this, and then we'll try to tie Jonny up for just a super quick Jonny sketch. All right. Let's try to keep this one concise, even though it's a big question. How do you gauge when a design is enough? That is the question from Seth. And his little thing is, in the sense that during the ideation phase and exploration, how do you know when you've worked a problem enough to start execution?
It's a good question. I think that's like an what's the right way to say it? It's like, that's not a skill set that gets much attention, is being able to pick a path.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. Like it's not easy to do that. And there have been times when I've ideated myself into like oblivion, where it's like, yo, like I have so many directions. None of them have floated to the top. And that really messed up the process. I rarely have a process that doesn't kind of lead to a path that just excites me. It doesn't happen very often. I almost always am like, that's cool. I like that one. Just naturally. Like I don't talk myself into it or anything. It's just like, I've sketched all these things. But once, I will say one thing you can do, like one tactical thing you can do, is if you've spent enough time in the problem, then you can feel confident that when you pick one of the paths that it's well informed, at least. Right? Like you can know that it's well informed.
Yeah.
You can't, it might be tough to know if it's like going to be, if it's really going to pop for everybody else, but you can know it's well informed. So like you got to do that work to make sure that from what you're picking is a well informed pool of options.
Right.
And then I try and like, there's so many, there's like there's impositions on like your design that are, some are immovable and some are movable. So like you have to put in place all of the, what's the word for it? All the obstacles, not really obstacles, like the asks of the brief. There are certain things that have to be answered.
Yeah.
And so if you get all those things put in place, like what has to be answered and is immovable, that also can direct what you pick.
Right.
And honestly, you might be operating in a much tighter path than you think. Once you've said, well, what's the precedent product? Well, it's that one. Do you need the new one to relate? Well, if you do, then that just deleted like a lot of direction. It has a certain foam or a certain technology that has a DNA. So that now eliminates other, like it has a certain cost. It has a certain, so once you've put in place those parameters, that's the word I was looking for. Certain parameters, once you get those in place, you're actually designing within a more narrow, or you can work to try and put in place the proper parameters. So now it's no longer about which one do I like. It's which one succeeds within these parameters that I've put in place. Some immovable, some are movable, but I like them.
Right. What he's saying here is you had a sense of that, like finding that quickly or knowing when you hit that. Is it just like intuition?
I don't know. Like it's interesting to me that Seth thinks that I did that.
Like, no,
I don't know. I think it's that though. I think that answering those questions is happening in live. Like as you're sketching, you are thinking about those parameters and you're answering them and you're seeing which ones are doing it. And you are more than likely aspiring to something. The precedent product may not be doing the exact same thing you want the new one to do. So you might be aspiring to a different performance or a different consumer. And so I think you just pick the path that's answering the questions that you're asking.
Yeah.
The one that's going to take you to the place that you want to go.
Yeah.
If you know, and if you're left with 6 options that can go to that same place and you're really having a hard time with it, then there's definitely nothing wrong with like asking a trusted designer,
right?
Like your design director,
right? Your
design manager, a designer that you like their taste.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, like I'm having a hard time. Like, I don't know. I was talking to my design director recently. I was like, I'm lost in the sauce on this.
Yeah.
Like show me where this is supposed to go. I can't tell. Oh, man. I'm like so close to this that I can't see which way's up.
Yeah.
And they can gut check it with you.
I need to do that
and week. Help you. But it's important that like, you're going to pick someone who, some people, aren't going to answer it in a way that helps.
Yeah.
Others can. Yeah. So you just kind of look for those folks. And,
so
I think I was always just asking Seth what to do, and that's why it worked. Hey, Seth, which one?
That's interesting because I'm not hearing an answer. I'm hearing like,
Wasn't all just process?
You're just
doing,
you're just like doing this, and this is the process. And it does sound like you had a bit of intuition, like that you know when the question's being answered, and you're just like, that one's obviously answering the parameters. I'm going to push that one forward. Like you just like, you're like.
I think part of it is creating order.
Yeah,
I think some of it might be creating order.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if it's order in the way that you're working through the problems and answering the questions, or it's order in the actual lines of the work.
Right.
Like if you're working on, so much of it just comes back to things that we already know, like composition, controlling composition, proportion. Where is there dissonance? Do you want it there? You need to control the harmony and dissonance, the relationships of the lines are going, like, do you like the relationships that you're creating? Are they like just answering all those questions, kind of reveals, like, once it's answered that, it kind of seems to like naturally feel right. But then you get someone who maybe doesn't see it the same way that you do. And then it's like, oh wait, maybe it didn't. So I don't know.
Man.
Are there any right answers? Yeah. Only right angles.
Yeah. Like, yeah. All right. I'm going to call it on that. There's so much more. I would keep diving down, but that's what part 2s are for. That's what, I think everyone that we've had on everyone's like, well, I'd like to hear more from that person. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe I'll do it remote next time.
I mean, hopefully, thank you. Thanks for chatting about this stuff. Man. It was good to kind of revisit and articulate different thoughts about design. Hopefully people have thought that it's interesting. It is worthwhile.
Absolutely. This episode, just in my thinking as I'm playing it back in my head, has been different than all the other episodes, which have been different than all the episodes before it. The guest ones. So like there's 7 guests. Each one has their own like really function based, really design based, really artistic based, really kind of mixed of both. Like everyone kind of attacks things a little differently. But what we're seeing is that success is possible through all those lenses, and
right on.
It's pretty cool. But no, I appreciate it, dude. This is
you can breathe easy.
You picked me up in your car, so you graciously allowed me to redecorate your home for
we're in the basement.
And it smells better than garage. That's for sure. It's great. It's just crazy to be here in Boston.
Yeah, it's too bad you're in and out. You could see a little bit more of the place. It's a cool place to be.
Come back sometime. There's more people to talk to.
Yeah.
There's a whole
footwear scene here. Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. It's different from Portland. It's got a different flavor. I can already sense it.
The East Coast, West Coast thing is real.
Yeah. So, all right. That's an episode. Check out Jonny's sketch session that we're going to have. And then also, if you are needing it, go back to all of our other stuff that we've covered and all the other guest episodes. Definitely check out Seth again. And, oh man, that was a good time. Keep coming back. Like, subscribe. I feel like I got to say that over and over again, because people hit follow on Instagram, but it just doesn't, the YouTube thing, it just doesn't they don't make the jump. I can link tree it 1 million times, and I get 1 for every 200 on Instagram. So let's
you're heading in the right direction.
Let's better that. Thank you. We will see you again next time on Tech Packs Are Due. Thanks, Jonny.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Thank you. I literally haven't sketched in 5 months, probably.
Okay.
So we'll see what kind of chicken scratch we can bring to life.